It was an incredible experience to watch Alice go through the 10 weeks of the play therapy. I don't think she spoke to Fiona for the first 6 weeks at least. She just entered the room, sometimes a little bit nervous, but once she warmed up, something magical happened in the room and she walked out a lot lighter each week. Started becoming more of a child again. We saw that sparkle in her eye. She wasn't as teary, wasn't as nervous. We also sought support from the B Centre as well, and we actually participated in a Tuning Into Kids program that they coordinated at that stage, and my husband and I attended.
Well, obviously the play therapists, they do their work with the child, but the parents, I think, first of all, they're so brave that they actually come in and they trust someone else to actually share the story.
I think that was probably one of the best things we did, in that my husband and myself were able to gain support and we were able to learn and understand what Alice might be going through.
I think it just scaffolds them. If there's some weak areas or lagging skills for whatever reason's gone on in their life, then absolutely that we can give them some support around the next step. Build on the good stuff and thicken all of that for them as well, so that they go, oh, hey, I'm really good at this, I'm really good at that. So it's looking at both sides, not always a negative side, because each child and each parent has some fantastic strengths.
Coming into a playroom, they're able to figure out what it is they're feeling without me sitting there saying to you, you know, tell me why you're angry or tell me why you're sad. Like if we're sitting down talking, they'll just say what they want to please you. Whereas in the play therapy room, they don't have to do that. When we first come into the room, it takes a good couple of weeks for them to trust you. Like you're going into a room with a stranger, you know, they've already suffered a lot of trauma. So for them to even try and connect with another person is huge.
We are amazed what the kids work through once they develop the relationship with the therapist and they're given a safe space to express themselves. And we actually can really see from the time that they walk in to the time that they leave the huge difference. Play therapists are unique people. They really are dealing with the most vulnerable part of our community, and that's children who are in incredible distress. We're really recognising now the impact that domestic violence and the increase in family conflict is causing young children, and we're seeing a lot more anxiety and depression in really young children now, and I think a little bit of it has to do with social media, but we're starting to see much more severe problems in children at a much earlier age.
Yeah, I think we've got this underlying idea that kids are resilient, and the reality is they just don't have the language or the capacity to tell us that they're not okay, they're not resilient, and that sometimes they need a lot of help and support to get through trauma.
So she wants help.
And my own family is heavily dependent on the services of B Centre to help our youngest child, Alfie, who is having a terrible time dealing with the fact that his dad has terminal brain cancer, the symptoms of that, the uncertainty of that. And he's a really smart, happy, outgoing little kid, but suddenly everything went pear-shaped and he was feeling really vulnerable, and the way he let us know that he wasn't okay was he'd start to have terrible tantrums, almost like a 3-year-old again. And it's interesting that now he can articulate it. He can say, Mum, I'm scared that when Dad dies we're going to have to move away from my home and where my friends are. And Mum, I'm scared that when Dad dies we won't be able to live near the beach anymore. And like those little things for a 10-year-old are everything. But I couldn't ever possibly understand that without understanding through a therapist what a child thinks and how a child feels.
I found that after my sister's death, the B Centre was a place where my sister had created a safe little bubble for my niece and I to come back to and just be ourselves, say anything we wanted. Whereas in society, it kind of expects you to say, we're okay, we're dealing with it. Mia could wear whatever she wanted, which was pretty much anything that didn't match, and continues to be, but you know, kids are kids and they like to dress up as they are. It just gave us a space to be.
I then saw Bree afterwards, just really for counselling. How was she going? How was the new role going for her? So there were lots of issues, and also losing her sister. So much. Very brave woman, really, but so open and so great to work with.
We've had 2 years where we've gone on holidays, we've gone away on trips, we've been able to spend so much more time as a close-knit family to build our foundations, to say, hey Mia, look, you've got people who are really, really in love with each other and will back each other up, and you can see it. So even when Mummy goes up to heaven, you'll be able to see that we are all still here for you, and Mummy will always be watching you.
Reading the feedback back, you just know that it works. And when you know something works, you've got to keep going with it.
Although I hear the most heartbreaking things, there's always hope. And that's what we're just trying to find, just a little bit of hope. And if someone leaves here with that little bit of hope, then I feel we've worked well and there's been a bit of a job done.